केंद्र सरकार के कर्मचारियों को जो डीएनएस अलाउंस मिलता है और जो पेंशनर्स हैं जिनको डीएनएस रिलीफ मिलता है, इन दोनों में 1 जनवरी 2024 से 4% की वृद्धि करने का निर्णय लिया है। 1 जनवरी 24 से ये 4% की वृद्धि से देश भर में बड़े पैमाने पे हमारे पेंशनर्स को लगभग 50 लाख जो एम्प्लॉइज है और लगभग 68 लाख जो पेंशनर्स हैं, इन सबको इसका लाभ होगा और इसका व्यय लगभग 12,868 करोड़ रुपए केंद्र सरकार के ऊपर रहेगा।
Ma'am, as far as Department of Commerce is concerned, the budget has brought in a new scheme for development of trade infrastructure. It's called TIES, and this will be implemented for development of infrastructure in the states. And GEM platform has been appreciated, and we will be further expanding it, the GEM platform, for more activities in the government procurements.
Madam, we had a detailed presentation before the Revenue Secretary for all the commerce proposals. I'm very happy to report that 6 out of these proposals have been approved by the budget. The first is in the leather sector, madam. We had asked for exemption of 7.5% basic customs duty on vegetable tanning extracts to promote green tanning. That has been approved. And in fact, the reduction has been from 7.5% to 2.5% on vegetable tanning extracts, namely wattle extract and myrobalan fruit extract. The second proposal on the leather sector was, madam, for enhancement of duty-free limit under the duty-free import scheme from 3 to 5%. That has been approved toto for leather footwear or synthetic footwear or other leather products. On the chemical side, madam, we had recommended reduction in customs duty on VPEG and HPEG from 10% to 0%. The budget has announced this from 10% to 7.5%. VPEG is vinyl polyethylene glycol and HPEG is polyoxyethylene ether. The third announcement is in the gems and jewelry sector, madam, where reduction of income tax for smaller companies with annual turnover of 50 crores has been reduced to 25%. This will benefit almost all the MSMEs in the gems and jewelry sector. On the textile front, the nylon monofilament yarn for use in monofilament long line system for tuna fishing, we had recommended 7.5% BCD to be reduced to 5%, and this has been approved in the budget. The Stand Up India scheme, which was launched by the government in April 2016 to support Dalit, tribal and women entrepreneurs to set up greenfield enterprises and become job creators, about 16,000 new enterprises under this scheme are in activities dealing with the commerce sector, that is food processing, garments, diagnostic centers. As Secretary DIPP said, MAT carry forward for 15 years would provide some relief to the SEZ developers and units, as they'll be able to adjust the MAT credit over 15 years against the income tax that is due. On the agri side, madam, one of the suggestions has been approved, that is cashew nut roasted, salted, or roasted and salted. The BCD, we had wanted it to be increased from 30% to 45%. That has been approved in the budget, madam. There are several other agricultural incentives which have been provided in the budget which will help the commerce sector, especially the target for farm credit being increased to 10 lakh crores. It will provide impetus to growth in focus areas like Jammu and Kashmir and northeastern sectors of the economy. NABARD corpus to be increased by 1900 crores for Fasal Bima Yojana. This will allow coverage to increase from 30 to 40% of the area sown in 17-18 and 50% in 18-19. Mini soil testing labs to be installed in 648 KVKs. This will allow 100% soil testing for farmers, and this would improve the quality of items produced for exports. The bill to be introduced for model contract farming law that will allow linkage of fresh fruits and vegetables with the agro-processing units. The 19,000 crore budget announcement under PMGSY will allow improvement in the rural infrastructure for agricultural exports. The reduction in tax from 30 to 25%, as already mentioned, will help not only the MSME units in the gems and jewelry sector, but also in the agricultural sector. And lastly, railways becoming part of the general budget will allow facilities for multimodal transport, which will enable movement of agri-produce from the hinterland to the exit points. Thank you.
Ma'am, in addition to what has been said already, the budget has very positive implications for the services sector also. In particular, for higher education, greater autonomy for higher education institutions is envisaged. A system of accreditation and ranking is proposed. Swayam web-based active learning program for young aspiring minds is envisaged. In the area of skill development, 100 India International Skill Centers are envisaged. The Sankalp program for market relevant skills training is envisaged. The second phase of Strive for market relevant vocational training is envisaged. In tourism, 5 special tourism zones with SPVs are to be set up. And on the health side, supply of doctors, postgraduate doctors is proposed to be increased through additional seats. 5,000 postgraduate seats are envisaged in addition. So all these will have implications for services exports that we handle in Department of Commerce. Thank you.
Is it sufficient to start off with so that you can we can have the floor open for questions? You have something to add?
Yeah, we are ready. Let's start with 242, yes.
Just two things, ma'am. How will the abolition of FIPB bring about ease of doing business? And since 90% of the FDI, more than 90% is coming through automatic route, very few sectors are left now. What are kind of FDI reforms that you are looking to bring now?
That's a very good question to start off with, especially because you've linked it with the ease of doing business. I think the whole idea of taking the whole process of making it easier to do business in India to a logical conclusion is to wind up FIPB. Because if you look at things, first the statistics of more than 92% of all FDIs coming in are going through the automatic route. But for those which are left behind, for the rest, let's say 6 or 7%, every department to which it is aimed at have a departmental framework for it or a regulator for it. If there is an arm's distance regulator for that concerned department, that's sufficient to take care of the investment proposals which are coming in and for them to be screened. FIPB was only going to make it one more layer. So I think in keeping in line with the government's policy of maximum governance, minimum government, I think we've taken it to the logical conclusion. Now that majority of all that we are doing in investment is going through the automatic route, a superfluous layer or an additional layer in FIPB is not any longer required.
Yeah.
What more reforms that
Well, at this stage, there's nothing for me to add on that.
Yes, Prithupa.
Ma'am, my question is on FIPB only. It was seen as a one-stop shop for getting all the clearances. For example, in defense sector, you might need comments from the DIPP, from the Home Ministry, from the Department of Defense Production. Now, and I'm using just this as an example, Now, ma'am, if a proposal comes where you need comments from several ministries, then how does those permissions or comments get coordinated? Because earlier FIPB used to coordinate that and then give a decision. Now, what kind of mechanism will then exist? Because once FIPB is not there, then someone actually has to take
Well,
care
you're
of.
still talking about only those 6 or 7% of sectors which are left behind. And that's exactly where I'm telling you, if there are regulators within those respective ministries which can take care of, and the policy is all very well laid out, it's easy for the ministry itself and the regulator for themselves to deal with it rather than, and this whole idea of pillar to post business of several ministries broadly doesn't exist anymore. We have made it possible for people to simplify the whole process.
Yeah, 109.
Ma'am, this is an additional question to what the department just asked. So, ma'am, are you saying that the line ministry would be the final ministry which would take a call on proposals that do not come in autonomously?
Well, I suppose I'm also including the regulators who are taking care of those ministries who are constituting your 6% now. Majority of them going through the automatic route. The regulators of the respective ministries for those 6 to 7% which are left behind are more than adequately endowed to take care of screening such applications.
Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah, Siddharth.
This new infrastructure scheme, how is it going to be different from a side which was earlier there, and how will it work?
First of all, a side was almost central funded. Here, I think we are talking of 50% from the states and 50% from the center. So it's going to be equal participation for creating such infrastructure which are important for promotion of exports. But other than that, is there anything you want to add on?
Yeah.
மேடம் சசிகலா அவர்கள் புதிய முதலமைச்சராக தேர்வு செய்யப்பட்டிருக்காங்க. ஸோ இந்த சூழலில் மத்திய அரசோட கருத்து நிலைப்பாடு என்ன? அண்ட் இப்போ உங்களுக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் பன்னீர்செல்வத்துக்கு கொடுக்கக்கூடிய அந்த சப்போர்ட் இதுக்கு பிறகும் அவங்களுக்கு கண்டினியூ ஆகுமா சசிகலா அவர்களுக்கு?
இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பட்ஜெட் பற்றி தான் நாங்கள் பேசுகிறோம்.
இல்லை, ஜஸ்ட் சென்ட்ரல் வியூ மட்டும்.
டைவர்ட் பண்ண வேண்டாம், பட்ஜெட் பற்றி பேசலாம்.
Yes.
Madam, Apple continues to face some headwinds in India. This morning also we read in the papers that whatever demands Apple is making is not possible for Indian government to really extend to. From Commerce Ministry we keep hearing that they are supporting Apple's cause. Some days ago we read that in Bangalore they are going to open a unit, probably assembling unit. What is the status of Apple in India now?
Apple has submitted to us certain issues they would like us to consider. We had a meeting of all the concerned ministries and departments, and we have asked them to look at those issues and take a view. No ministry has yet taken a final decision on any of those, but we are in touch with them. From the IPP, see, it's not a question of our supporting. We are supporting all manufacturing in the country. And definitely we are supporting high value manufacturing in the country, whether by company A or company B. So we would definitely like to promote this. So we are coordinating a response from all the concerned ministries and departments, but no final view has been taken yet on any of those.
Yes.
You mentioned that you are mobile to different departments, issues which Apple has raised. Could you specify what these issues are? Is it specific to Apple or other manufacturers also face the same issues?
See, I will not like to discuss specific issues here, but one thing is very clear that the government doesn't make any policy or doesn't take any decision for a particular company. Where when a decision is taken, it will be applicable for everyone. It will be good for the sector. So no company specific decision can be taken. That's very clear.
Yeah. Madam, you wanted to ask. Yes.
Hi, sir. I just wanted to ask that I think today Revenue Secretary had given an interview to Economic Times where he mentioned that it to consider Apple's demands once GST comes into the picture. So just wanted the ministry's take.
Actually, Revenue Secretary has also said what was reported, that he has not seen the exact demand of Apple because the demands, that the IPP is dealing with it. We have forwarded the request or whatever is there from Apple to the Department of Revenue also. And they have been extremely busy, as you know, in the last few weeks. So they will take a view and they will let us know.
And I think if he added about when GST comes in, it will be difficult to accommodate any exceptions. This is all that he said.
Yes, 295. Yeah.
Ma'am, both in the economic survey as well as the union budget, one of the concerns that was raised was increasing trade tensions across countries and the clamor for protectionism that goes against globalization in various economies, especially the developed economies. How do you see this, and what steps do you think India needs to take to address these issues?
Well, I think that captures realistically what is happening in the globe. There is a increasing protectionism which you find expressed in your bilateral conversations or in multilateral forums. It is a situation together with global demand not really showing any signs of picking up. However, I must say to the credit of our exporters that they are somehow finding, even when they're finding the going tough, are able to sustain their export performance. In some sectors, they are really holding on to the performance levels, and some other sectors, in spite of the headwinds, are performing. So it is important that we not only just watch the global developments, but keep supporting our exporters in every which way we can. So that is our position as of now.
Yeah, 250. Yeah.
Ma'am, continuing on that question only, protectionism, there is one issue of H-1B visa that came up in the US Capitol Hill. What's your take on that? Will it hurt the Indian service sector? Do you think so? What's India's stand on that?
Well, there are several nuances to it. It's not just one call. It is a call which is possibly going to happen through an executive order, which will mean a few things. But the major decisions which may have a financial implication, inclusive of the minimum wages that they're talking about for highly qualified workers, probably will have to wait for a congressional approval. So there are several things which are embedded in that dialogue, in that discourse about H-1B visa, India's service sector, IT-enabled sectors which are going into the US and so on. And since it's so layered, it may not be right for me to react at one go about all these various strands. We are definitely closely monitoring the developments. Together with Ministry of External Affairs, we are constantly in touch with our consular office in the US, with the embassy in US. So I wouldn't rush to give a view on it. Yes, there is going to be an impact. In fact, Secretary and I were talking about it, and as soon as the Parliament session is over, this leg of it, after the 9th that is, we will be holding a meeting with the NASSCOM, with the industries which have significant presence in the US, talking to them about how they are working out in this environment. What are their strategies? What is it that the government is doing? We are going to have a clear exchange and discussion with them. So from then, I think we'll be able to have a clearer picture of where the industry is planning its own activities. In the meanwhile, I'll also be talking with External Affairs and understanding how we can take a call on this issue.
Yeah.
You spoke about, watching the situation in terms of protectionism as well as supporting exporters. What forms do these support take? Because the exporters normally come immediately asking for tax songs, intervention in the rupee and things like that. Would it be more of, or would you concentrate more on, improving their competitiveness, or, will it also be tax songs and other things which may not be very possible? Well, I think first major thing is about the interest subvention program which we launched, and that's had a great impact on the exporters. It's been utilized nearly 100%, and Mr. Dadu is here. He'll be able to tell you how every time we are literally well before the deadline voicing our concern to the finance ministry, saying it's all used up, would you please refill, would you please refill. That's the response we've had from the exporters. Banks have been very cooperative, and as a result of which we can see that after a continuous month after month fall in exports, you are seeing some bit of positive signals. I think that particular scheme will continue with great gusto. We will make sure that finance also has expressed this, and therefore I'm saying it with the confidence that there will be good support from finance, and that's one of the ways in which we want to encourage the exporters. That's one. Second, of course, we are also making sure that wherever the dialogues are on, bilateral or multilateral, we are speeding up processes to have greater access for our commodities and also for the manufactured goods. So seeking for newer markets, better bilateral, linkages, and through them opening up of newer markets. Simultaneously looking at how imports, through setting standards, talking to various ministries, talking to BIS, and ensuring that imports that which can be avoided, in the sense poor quality imports, substandard imports, imports which are coming and injuring our industry, will be kept at bay. So it is going to be a two-pronged approach, and we shall be very, very nimble at it.
Yeah, you wanted to ask the last thing. Yes, please.
Sorry.
I thought you were here.
Yeah, I just, the mic is here. Ma'am, the WTO DG will be in town on the 8th and 9th. And, the focus seems to be on, new issues like e-commerce and investment. Just wanted to know how India is taking up the outstanding issues, especially on food sovereignty, and also India's new proposal on the services trade facilitation. Thank you.
You said the focus is on new issues and e-commerce. I don't know how that came to be. He's not given me any indication of...
I said new issues like e-commerce and investment.
That's fine. You said the focus is going to be on e-commerce and new issues, investment and so on, but I have not been given any focus for the meeting that he is going to have with me, first thing. Second, a lot of things are expected to happen in the WTO. We are definitely looking at having meaningful conversation there, because this year is the year for the ministerial, which happens once in 2 years. And I do not want a situation where I'm grateful to the Prime Minister who anticipated in 2014 itself that what if 2017 dawns and we do not have a permanent solution. We should ensure that there is a little course correction done to the Bali Agreement, as a result of which, after very intense negotiations, we were able to obtain the peace clause. You are aware of it. This year again is the year for the ministerial, and we've had a review meeting with our ambassador and her office in Geneva. Also, the matter was again discussed in detail in WTO's meeting during the WEF in Davos. We've been very clear that everything that has been agreed to in the Nairobi ministerial should be implemented we really can't be going over to the next ministerial, which is going to happen in Argentina in 2017, without fulfilling what we have committed ourselves to in Nairobi. And therefore, these are issues on which, where the ministerial declaration identified issues in Nairobi, I will definitely be talking to the DG and ensuring that the processes are completed before we reach Argentina. The last time the processes were not completed, they were rushed through, as a result of which even the DG had to admit in the Davos meeting that the process was incomplete and not really perfect in Nairobi. We do not want that error. Of course, we shall be very clear, none of our positions have changed. Reiterate on Doha, reiterate that new issues cannot come in without common consensus, and reiterate on all the points of the ministerial declaration in Nairobi.
Yeah, 257, yeah.
Sir. मैडम बजट में कहा गया कि टेक्सटाइल की तरह लेदर एंड फुटवेयर को पैकेज दिया जाएगा, तो क्या ये पैकेज 6,000 करोड़ का होगा जैसा कि टेक्सटाइल को दिया गया? नंबर 1। नंबर 2 कि क्या इसमें भी जो न्यू यूनिट्स आएंगे उसमें जो पीएफ का पार्ट है वो गवर्नमेंट देगी? नंबर 3 कि क्या आप मंत्रालय की तरफ से आपने कोई एस्टिमेट किया है कि इससे कितने रोजगार निकलेंगे और क्या होगा? और भी कई लेबर ओरिएंटेड सेक्टर हैं जैसे हैंडीक्राफ्ट, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी, तो क्या उनके लिए कोई ऐसा विचार क्यों नहीं किया गया? सिर्फ लेदर के लिए ऐसा क्यों हुआ?
एक लेदर के डेवलपमेंट के लिए एक इंटीग्रेटेड लेदर डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम पहले से चल रहा है, तो उसमें कई एलिमेंट्स हैं। जैसे एक तो स्किल डेवलपमेंट का उसमें एलिमेंट्स है। पिछले 2.5 साल में हम लोगों ने लगभग 3.75 लाख लोगों का एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी उसमें दिया है, थ्रू स्किल डेवलपमेंट किया है हम लोगों ने, और इसमें से लगभग 90% से ज़्यादा लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिल जाता है। तो ये प्लेसमेंट लिंक्ड स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है। इसके अलावा हम लोग नए यूनिट्स को भी एक सब्सिडी स्कीम भी है उसमें, सीट कॉमन एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स के लिए भी इसमें स्कीम है। इस तरह से इसमें कई सारे कंपोनेंट्स हैं। हम लोगों ने अभी एक अगले 3 साल के लिए हम लोगों ने एक उसका प्रोग्राम बनाए हैं हम लोग कि क्या स्कीम में होना चाहिए इस स्कीम के तहत, और उसके लिए हम लोग अभी अपना जो प्रोसेस है एक्सपेंडिचर फाइनेंस कमेटी में जाएंगे, फिर कैबिनेट में जाएंगे हम लोग। इसके अलावा भी हम लोगों ने पैकेज में और भी टेक्सटाइल पैकेज में जिस तरह से लेबर एम्प्लॉयमेंट की और बाकी सब चीज़ों की सुविधाएं दी गई हैं, उनको भी हम इसमें शामिल करने के लिए करेंगे और फिर सरकार का आदेश लेंगे।
Any specific project has approved in the budget for Tamil Nadu? And one more, the reopening of Foxconn and Nokia industry is a long pending demand of Tamil Nadu government. Is there any specific announcement regarding that?
Can you repeat that? In leather sector?
Any specific project approved in the budget for Tamil Nadu, and reopening of Foxconn and Nokia industry is a long pending demand of the Tamil Nadu government. Is there any specific announcement or approved regarding that?
See, in one of the important industrial corridor projects we are taking up is the Chennai-Bengaluru corridor, where of course is a major, Tamil Nadu is also one of the states along with Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. There was no announcement in this particular budget as such, but you may have heard that in December, government had approved setting up of this National Industrial Corridor Development Authority, and in that authority, we had the first meeting recently of the committee, and we have approved, recommended, and that will be put up to the government, that this Chennai-Bengaluru Industrial Corridor should be approved. So, Tamil Nadu is also one of them, and there are of course,
There is a node in Tamil Nadu.
yeah. Ponneri node is there in Tamil Nadu, which will be taken up for development under the industrial corridor project.
But more importantly, no particular state's name has been taken in the budget. So Tamil Nadu's name also has not been taken. Well, on that I think a lot of, that's not so much budget related, because those are issues on which different departments are involved, they're talking. In fact, on Nokia, I remember the Honorable Prime Minister himself intervening in the Parliament and saying that he is monitoring what is going on there. So, if there is anything significant that I can report, I will report on it.
Ministry of Electronics and IT, as ma'am said, that other departments are coordinating. They are actually coordinating with the Department of Revenue and the state government on this Nokia Foxconn issue.
Yeah. So let's conclude the press conference. I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister for making it convenient to come and address this press conference, especially with the focus on budget. I also thank the other dignitaries on the dais. Friends, while thanking you, I would also like to inform you that we have made arrangements for tea on the 4th floor. Please join us for tea.